So when I was a young player, growing up, everybody told me that it doesn't matter if we win or lose the game, you know. It's not all about winning, it's not all about losing. The main thing is, as long as you have fun, everything's gonna be okay. That's the main thing. The main thing is that everybody has fun on the football pitch. However, I wish I was in an environment where I had coaches who would challenge me, who would set goals for me, and who just overall would just demand more from me, whether that was attacking wise, defensively, whether that was communicating, just all aspects of the game. I wish I had coaches who were more about, winning the game and more improving their players, as opposed to, growing up in an environment where it was just about, it's okay, we don't demand too much of you as long as the boys have fun type of thing. I wish I grew up in an environment where I had, stricter coaches whose only objective was to just make us better players. Because I didn't have this led to me, going through the motions in certain training sessions, even in certain matches, simply because I didn't have the idea, I didn't realize that I had a limited window to make it as a footballer, you understand? I didn't realize that these are valuable years and you have to play every game like it's your last game. So today I'm going to be teaching you about the importance of having urgency and setting big goals for yourself as a footballer. So let's start with urgency. You must be constantly giving your absolute best in training, absolute best in matches, and also you need to be putting yourself in positions where you can meet new people who can help you elevate and play at a higher level. When I was younger, I thought that being the best player on my team was enough. I felt like the man. I was the best player at my school, on my school team. I was the best player for my club team as well. There'll be certain performances where I'd have a good game, and coaches and parents from my team would be complimenting me. I'd even have coaches and parents from the other team saying, "Oh yeah, that player, he was so good today, blah, blah, blah." And obviously, that made me feel like the man. That sort of made me content. That sort of made me satisfied. I didn't realize that, this is just the beginning, you understand? This isn't the end all and be all. This is simply just the beginning. Because if you want to make it as a footballer, then you're probably going to have to be the best player on your team if you're not at an academy, you understand? I wish I had someone to tell me that, you're doing well, but this is just the beginning, There's so many more players to compete against. There's so many things that you can still learn. But like I said, I just got comfortable and I stayed at my first team for about 7-8 years, just playing at the same level, just playing at the same level. I was there till I was like, I was there since 5 years old, and I ultimately ended up leaving at 11. However, I wish I would have had that urgency to climb up the levels, constantly just find better teams, constantly find better coaches who would push me more, coaches who would get the best out of me, because I felt like that would have been optimal for my development as a player. I feel like if I would have been in an environment where the coaches were just harder on me, and there was just more of this culture of even competition from teammates where parents and even the players I was playing with didn't shy away from competition. They sort of encouraged competition. They encouraged you to fight for your place in the team. They encouraged you to go to fly into tackles in training, you understand? Try to be better than this player, be better than him at shooting, passing, dribbling, whatever it is, you understand? Whereas the team that I grew up in, it was more like a family environment where it was like, it's okay, everyone's equal, everyone will get equal playing time. Certain times, the best players would start on the bench because it's sort of a thing where it's like, we have to rotate, we have to do this, we have to do that. I wish I would have grown up in an environment where it was like, if you're not giving me performances on the pitch, if you're not giving me production, then you're always going to be on the bench. If you want to start games, then you're going to have to improve as a player. You're going to have to provide more to the table. You're going to have to compete with your own teammates. You're going to have to You're going to have to just be better than them in general, no matter what position it was. So yeah, like I said, that urgency is so key as a footballer. Just knowing that you have that limited amount of time, especially at a young age, is so crucial, because that will end up making you, try and look for the best teams possible. Try play with the best players possible. Simply just putting yourself out there, go into like summer tournaments, entering like 7-a-side tournaments, 5-a-side tournaments, just playing against different players, because at these sort of tournaments in the summer, you never know who you're gonna meet, you understand? Maybe it's that you're going to different trials, putting yourself out there, going to different trials. Maybe it's a case of you going down to your local Astro and making connections there. I've made so many connections at my local Astro, just simply just showing up there, just going there every day. You see the same group of people every single time. Then you get to train with them, start playing matches with them, and then maybe it's a case where they tell you to join their team, you understand? And then you end up finding out that their team, they play at a higher level than your current team. So obviously he's told the guy that you've met, he's told his coach, yo, I have this player for you, and then you end up playing at an even higher level than you did before. And then yeah, because you're playing at a higher level, you're literally becoming a better player. You're playing against better players, and you're also, you have better teammates, so you're competing in training and you're getting better. You understand? It's forcing you to, adapt your game. It's forcing you to make improvements in your game, and that's what you can ask for as a young player. Even call up a group of friends and just be like, yo, do you have any players that can, come to a ball session down at the AstroTurf? Like for me personally, I've met people, that I didn't even know, friends of friends who down at the AstroTurf who have invited me to, go train with their first team. You know what I'm saying? I remember there was one time in particular where I went to go train. There was so many people there, friends or friends. I didn't really know anyone. I only knew about 5 people out of like the like 30 people that were there. You understand? It was like 20 people that were there, and then I ended up meeting one guy, and then he ended up inviting me to his first team training session. And then on my first training session, I ended up getting into the first team. You understand? I ended up being offered a place in the first team. So you literally just little things like that where it's like you need to have urgency. You need to just put yourself out there. Don't just think, 2 team training sessions a week are enough and then match on Sunday. Or don't just think, I'm the best player on my team, so it's calm. Now always go out and discover, find more, because trust me, there's always going to be a better player than you. There's always going to be a group of players where maybe you hop into their session and you realize, okay, there's actually levels to this. Because it's happened to me multiple times where, I thought I was a good player. I hopped in like a session at the local AstroTurf. There were proper ballers there, and I was thinking, alright, cool, there's levels to this. Like, I need to work. I'm not there yet, you understand? But obviously, this was like when I was like 16, 17. I wish I had that same mentality I did at 16, 17, at like 10, 11, 12, you understand? If I had that mentality at 10, 11, 12, then I'll probably be a much better player. So in my opinion, just do this as much as possible. Just have that urgency to always just think, alright, cool, I'm not good enough. I need to try play for a better team. I need to find people to train with, find better players to train with me so that I can improve as a player. Just never be satisfied, basically. So that's the first point about urgency. Just always have that urgency to try progress. Just keep progressing, because as we know in football, the competition is very high. So the least you can do is just always just find opportunities, find ways, put yourself out there, meet new people who are ultimately going to make you a better footballer. Next, I want to talk about setting big goals. Now, the thing about setting big goals is that it's so crucial to set big goals simply because it prevents you from, going through the motions. It prevents, seasons slipping by, years slipping by without you even noticing. Like, have you ever been in a period of your life where it's like you remember something that you thought was like 2 years ago, but then you actually realize and you think about it and it's like, damn, like it wasn't 2 years ago, it was 5 years ago. You understand? Like, sometimes the years, the seasons can just sort of slip by, and you don't want that to happen to you as a footballer. You don't want to look back on your career and be like, yo, if I would have just locked in for this period of time, or you look back and you're like, damn, like it's been 3 years since I did that, or it's been 2 years since that happened, it's been 5 years since that happened. You don't want to look back and be like, yo, it's been 5 years and I'm still at the same level as a footballer. You understand? Like 5 years, and then you start thinking to yourself, 5 years is a long time. Like, what have I actually done? And then that's where the regret comes in. You understand? But I feel like if you set big goals, if you actually tell yourself, okay, cool, by this year I want to be at this level. By this year, I want to be here. This season, I'm going to score this many goals. This season, I want to be the best player on my team. I want to win player of the year for my team. When you set these big goals, it keeps your mind sharp and it keeps your mind focused on the goal. So on the days where you're not even motivated, let's say there's a period of time, let's say there's like a 2-week period where you're unmotivated. If you don't set goals in this period, you're just gonna stay in bed. You're just gonna be unmotivated. You're not gonna go train. But if you have big goals, if you have goals where it's like, nah, I need to do this, then you're way more likely to, get out of bed and just keep that momentum going. Just keep that momentum going on, working on your technical ability, working on your physical ability, whether that's getting stronger, getting faster, getting a better first touch, improving your shooting, improving your passing. In that 2-week period, even when you're unmotivated, you're not gonna just sort of fall off the roads, because you have a plan. You have a plan, you have a direction, you know where you're going. So this is why it's so crucial to set big goals. Set goals that are long term, short term, and even medium term. You can set a pre-season goal in terms of, alright, cool, I want to be this fit by the end of pre-season, or I want to achieve this by the end of the pre-season. during the season you can set weekly goals, you can set monthly goals, you can set season goals, or you can even set goals 5 years from now. You understand? Even if you want to say, okay, cool, in 5 years I'm going to be here, or in 2 years I want to play for an academy, in 3 years I want to be here. In, let's say you play for an academy right now, let's say you're 16, you say to yourself, alright, cool, in 2 years and I'm going to work hard so I can, get that pro contract. You understand? Then at 18 you say to yourself, alright, cool, I'm 18, I want to make my first team debut by at least 19 years old. You do that, then you say to yourself, alright, cool, by 21 I want to be a starter. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a key player, I want to be a starter, I want to be one of the first names on the team sheet as a first team player. And then you just keep setting goals. You understand? You keep setting goals, because even in the moments where you're not motivated, even in the moments where you're in bad form, because you have those goals in mind, you're still gonna just push forward. But if you're just going with no sense of direction, as soon as you come across a roadblock, you're just gonna be like, alright, cool, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, because you have no sense of direction. You have no big goal that's really gonna get you out of bed in the morning. You understand? You have no goals that are worth, fighting through bad form, for fighting through, depression, for fighting through times where you're not motivated. You understand? So literally setting big goals, in my opinion, as a player, is so key. The last thing I want to say about when you're setting goals, make sure you set goals that are really big, that are slightly unreasonable. You understand? The reason why you want to set big, slightly unreasonable goals is because these big goals are the ones that's going to get you out of bed in the morning. If you set really small goals, if you hold yourself to like a really low standard, on the days you're unmotivated, you're not going to get out of bed. You understand? So let's say you say to yourself, let's say you play Sunday League right now. Let's say you play Sunday League. You tell yourself, okay, cool, by next year I want to play at a semi-pro level. That's a decent goal, you understand? But in my opinion, you're not going to work as hard if you say to yourself, alright, cool, I want to be a professional footballer by the time I'm 18. You understand? Because when you say that to yourself, it's like, yo, you're going to be thinking about, alright, cool, I need to be a pro, because it's such a big goal, because it's such a goal that feels worth it. You understand? If you set small goals, the small goals aren't going to be worth it. They're not going to get you out of bed in the morning on the days where you're unmotivated. But if you tell yourself, yo, I'm going to make it as a Premier League footballer, think about if you set that goal in your mind, yo, I need to make it as a Premier League footballer. Because as soon as you set that goal, you're going to think about everything that comes with being a professional footballer. You're going to think about, alright, cool, if I make it to the Prem, I'm going to have enough money to, retire my family. I'm going to be able to get cars. I'm going to be able to get, all the girls. I'm going to be able to, be famous, have the followers. Think about all those benefits that come with being a Premier League footballer. You understand? So obviously, when you're thinking about those, even when you're unmotivated on those days where you're lying in bed, or you don't want to go training, you don't want to go to a match, you're going to be thinking about those, and you're going to tell yourself, no, I need to just push through, I just need to push through this. Even if I'm not motivated, I just need to push through this, because if I get through this, look at all the rewards that are on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Because when there are big rewards on the other side, trust me, you're way more likely to push through times where you're unmotivated. But if you set small goals, as soon as that first hurdle comes up, you're gonna be like, is it really worth it? You understand? Like, the things I want aren't even that great, so I'm not really gonna push past my limits. You understand? But when you set those big goals, that's when you push past your limits. That's when you push past, like I said before, the depression, the demotivation. Like, think about it. It's the same. Another example, it's the same thing. When people start going to the gym and they say, I don't want to get too big, I just want to get a little bit toned. You know what I'm saying? I just want to lose a bit of belly fat. Those are never the guys who end up building a great body. You understand? Those are never the guys who end up losing the weight, getting the abs, getting the six pack, getting getting the CR7 physique. It's never them guys. It's always the guys who say to themselves in their mind, alright, cool, I'm gonna start going to the gym, I'm gonna start eating properly, and I'm gonna build that 10 out of 10 physique. I'm gonna build, that CR7 body. Those are the guys who end up doing it, because in their minds, when they get up in the morning, they're thinking, alright, cool, I'm demotivated, but think about it, I just need to go to the gym and then I'll end up building that CR7 physique. They imagine themselves with the perfect body. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the guys who say, I just want to get a little bit toned, I just want to lose a bit of belly fat, as soon as they get demotivated, they're gonna be like, they're gonna sit in bed and they're gonna be like this. They're gonna look at their stomach and they're gonna be like, I guess this belly fat isn't too bad. You know what I'm saying? Because and then they're gonna stay in bed. They're gonna be like, oh, you know what? The belly fat isn't too bad because the rewards isn't as high as, you know, building that 10 out of 10 physique. You understand? The rewards aren't as big as, you know, saying to yourself, yo, I'm gonna get a six pack. I'm gonna be shredded. I'm gonna be in shape. I'm gonna be able to, you know, run fast, jump high, do anything. Have that physique to where, yo, you can play football. You can play football. It's appealing to the masses. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the same. So that's why you always have to set big goals, you understand? Because the big goals are going to get you out of bed in the morning. Like, think about it. For example, if I go on YouTube and I said, oh, cool, I only want to get, you know, 1,000 subscribers. That's all I really want, you know. I just want 1,000 subscribers, you know. I just want 5,000 views per video. Would I really have the motivation to, you know, record and put out a video every single day? I would not do that, because I'll wake up and I'll be like, alright, cool. I'll be thinking about the 1,000 subscribers, and I'll be like, all this work, but it's not even 1K isn't even that great, you know what I'm saying? It's not even all that. But if I say to myself, yo, I want 1 million subscribers, you know what I'm saying? I want 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I want to be getting videos hitting 500k views, 700k views. I want to get to the point where I'm the biggest football YouTuber on the platform, you know what I'm saying? I want to get to the point where I'm making videos with guys like Rants and Bants, guys like getting calls to go on like SDS with like Sharky and them, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's the type of mentality that gets me out of bed. That's the type of mentality that has me recording every single day. Because you see how the rewards are motivating me. You understand? You see the way the rewards are so big. You know, I want to be getting invited to like the like Sidemen charity matches and that, if they're still doing that. You understand? I don't know if they're gonna still do it after this year, but I want to be getting invited to, you know, Sidemen charity matches. I want to be in that space with all them guys. You know what I'm saying? But you see the way having big ambitions is sort of motivating me to, you know, drop a vid every day, just drop knowledge, help you guys out every single day. Whereas if I had said to myself, alright, cool, I only want 5,000 subscribers, I'll wake up in the morning when I'm not motivated and I'll be like, bro, 5,000 isn't even that great. I'm not recording today. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, what's 5,000 gonna do? That's what happens when you set small goals. So you have to set them big goals, so that even when you're demotivated, even if you're going through depression or whatever you're going through in life, you still have those rewards you can look up at and be like, yo, yeah, I'm going through shit, but I need to get there. You know what I'm saying? The rewards on the other side are too good for me to stop working. You know what I'm saying? They're too good for me to give up, type of thing. So yeah, that's the vid for today. I hope you enjoyed. I've been JT, and I'm out.